welcome back to Tinateach HTML. Today is a new day, a new lesson. Forms Part 2 is equal to Forms Part 1. We'll be having a look at the label tag more in depth, as well as the syntaxes for the different types of input that we've seen in the previous lesson. Now, first off, label. Label gives you a label for many form. Elements is also useful for screen readers as well, because the screen reader would read out the label, and if the user have difficulty clicking on like small regions like buttons and checkboxes, they can simply click the label and it'll toggle the buttons and the checkboxes for them. All right, so it's a matter of accessibility and ease of use for label, as well as clarity. Now, what about radio buttons? Radio buttons, you can, it's represented as input type equals to radio. It allows the user to select only one out of a bunch of choices, all right? And first off, we have the form, as I've mentioned in the previous lesson, form part 1. Form is a container, and the first thing you have to do is have a container. Next up is the input type radio. You have that ID for easier, selection and like specialized styling and whatnot. Name, favorite color. Value is yellow, and then label for yellow, and then you have yellow, and you can duplicate this one after another to give multiple choices. Next up is checkboxes, input type checkbox. Checkboxes let the user select no or more than one option out of a bunch of choices that you can give them. Once again, we start off with form, and we have input type checkbox, ID, common sense, name, and then value, Toyota. And I have my first label for car 1, choose the Toyota, and then close the label and have a line break. Once again, just like with radio buttons, you can repeat this multiple times to give multiple choices. What about submit buttons? Input type submit gives you a button to submit the form to a form handler in something like PHP. The form handler is actually a file on the server that has a bunch of codes, perhaps PHP code to process the input data. And then the form handler is actually specified in the form's action attribute. The action attribute, you've caught a glimpse of this once again in form part 1. And I'll show you in the demonstration in a bit. So this is an example of what you can expect when you code in submit buttons in your main HTML file. You have the form action here, action page.php. I won't go too much into detail on this part because we do need a little bit more HTML knowledge to, sort of comprehend this completely. So I'm just going to move on and stick to our topic. Label for favorite color, and then you have favorite color, that's the label. Line break and input type text, ID, favorite color, name, favorite color. The default value is red, and then the input type submit value. Submit. So once the user types in their favorite color, they have a submit button waiting for them. They can click on it, and it'll send their input to the action page.php, and whatever processing that comes out of it, it may change your web page or display something nice to the user. That all depends on you. Lastly, I want to talk about the name attribute. If you leave out the name attribute, the value of the input will not be sent. So when the user press submit, it will simply not be sent to the form action, so nothing happens. All right? So I'm going to have a comment over here, and I'm going to put in text. Let me move my mouse over. Let's have a container form label for favorite color, and then line breaks. Next up, input type equals to text. ID is favorite color. Name is also favorite color. and value is, let's say, yellow, right? That's just like example. And line breaks once more. Another label for favorite number. Favorite number. All right. Let's have line breaks. Input type text ID is favorite number. Name equals to favorite number. And then value is like 2. 2 line breaks this time. And let's move on to the next type, which is radio. All right. Next up is radio. Input type radio. ID is yellow. Name is favorite color. And value is yellow. Then next up is the label for yellow and all caps yellow. And make sure to add in a line break. Input type radio, just the same thing but different value. Purple. Name favorite color. Value is purple. And then let's go down here and have label for purple and purple. Next up, line break as usual. All right. Now our last input, our last radio button is going to be red. Name is favorite color. Value is red. Label for red, red, and make sure you have 2 line breaks this time because this is the final one. And one more thing, guys, don't forget to add in the container my bad over here. Accidentally exclude the form. Okay, next up, let's work with the submit. Well, no, not yet. Checkboxes, okay? I almost forgot checkboxes and then the button. And I'm going to reformat this so it looks proper, prettier. There we go. So for our first checkbox, let's have input type checkbox. ID is car number 1. Name is car number 1 and value is Toyota. All right. Label for car 1, Toyota, and then a line break. And we're going to do the same thing for car number 2. Input type checkbox, ID car 2, name car 2, value is, let's say, Honda, and label for car 2, Honda. Line break. And let's have our last value for checkboxes. Input type checkbox, ID car 3, name is car 3, value Ford. All right. And then label for car 3 is Ford. And double line breaks this time. Last but not least, let's work with the submit button. I'm going to use a text field for this. Form action is action page.php. So this is just an example, okay? Label for favorite color, and then input type is text ID favorite color, name is favorite color, one more time, value is yellow. All right, line break down here, input type submit, and value equals to submit. Now that's it for now. Let's check our result. All right, Control S to save. So this is what we're left with. We have favorite color. This is the text field, right? This default value. However, we can just we can just get rid of it and type in whatever we want. The same applies to here. Then we have our radio, which we can only select one. Okay, we can't select any more than that. If you want any more than that, those are checkboxes. And text field with the submit button and that. Now, that's it for today's lesson. I do hope that you enjoy and that a lot of the things make sense to you. Our next topic that we're going to be talking about is form attributes. So we're looking at all of the nice quality of life attributes that will make our lives much more easier when we're working with form, and perhaps in the future PHP as well. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Learn today, better tomorrow. Goodbye.